Hi, daily just closed ago. I mean, we kind of saw this coming. We have this nice clean trend line here, bounce off the trend line, and this is the channel. But if we're being, it's including these wicks specifically so that we can include this unconfirmed region. So I actually don't like that yet, right? This is all unconfirmed. Um, I think what we were doing prior to this was using this because we had a confirmed bounce here, right? This was a confirmed bounce that got rejected up here. So this is actually now outside of the channel. Pretty nasty, I think. This is kind of feeling like Bull's last stand before giving up the range and allowing us to test 35 or lower. Um, I, th- I think this just feels right at this time. And then if we do get a confirmed bounce that can break this trend line here, and maybe we can retest 40 mid 41s or 42 or something like that, then we can redraw this channel this way. Then it makes more sense to redraw the channel this way. But until that happens, I don't think it makes that much sense to redraw the channel. As far as the top of the channel here, you only get two connects ever. I mean, maybe if you want to add this, you get three. But either way, you get the same situation, right? You can kind of make it work here on this one. You can kind of make it work here, kind of make it work here. But like, if you want to make this a little higher, then you're never going to get this one here, right? So I think this is a reasonable enough channel to make. Monthly close, I mean, weekly close obviously is coming up here now in, let's remove these drawings, in a couple days. Not looking good. I mean, again, bulls still need to just kind of do something like this and try and keep this channel held. But like we said, it's not looking like it wants to happen. Monthly is closing tomorrow. Tomorrow, yeah. 24 hours now is monthly close. It is an inside bar, so that is a good sign for bulls. I mean, at this time, of course, like there's still some time to break the low, but at this time, it's. I mean, this is about as good. I mean, without pumping at the last second to 46K like today, this is about as good as it's gonna get for bulls, I think. And does it seem realistic at all for us to pump to 46K in 24 hours? Absolutely never, right? So I don't think that's going to be happening. It's looking like we're probably going to close something like this. I would expect maybe next month's candle, maybe something like that, and then maybe something like this, or maybe something like this kind of thing. Could it just go like this? Of course it could. I mean, I think that at this point in time is just because we have that, like we said, the channel that has to be redrawn. I think this is the highest probability of us dumping straight through the floor right now. And unfortunately, I don't think there's much support down here. I really don't. Obviously, this has been a buy zone, right? Every time we've been there, honestly, all of this has been a buy zone, right? Like we have a lot of buying here. Of course, we have this wick here, and then we have constant rejection at this level. But, oh, excuse me, just a second. Sorry, my headphones wrapped around my dog's legs. So I do think that if we are going to dump from here, we probably cut through this like butter. I don't think we gonna just reject at this level and bounce like this. I guess it's possible, but like I think that if we do enter this, there's a higher probability of us testing the low before a bounce, or even just breaking through the bottom. That's on these macro levels. Now, like we said, oops, we have a pretty clean trend line here. Pretty clean trend line here. This, of course, is a reasonably strong trendline break, extreme, one leg, two legs. So now it makes sense that we're kind of attempting to re-attack this level, but it should be reasonably strong, right? Kind of like this, maybe like this, with this being a deviation, this being a deviation, and of course this being a deviation, which would mean that we're getting close. We are getting close, and possibly looking to find some sort of end to this, but kind of wedgy here. So we definitely could be looking for one more push and then a bounce back into the 40, 42s, 43s, like into this range, which would coincide pretty reasonably with what we were kind of looking at on the monthly of like printing yet another inside bar here, right? Yet another inside bar, like this is inside and then another inside bar to the upside. But that is very, very high time frame and tougher to think about. I think the most reasonable thing to think is we are in this type of wedge here that should probably resolve with a breach of the extreme and then probably a break of this trend line, probably then a retest of the trend line, and then who knows, like maybe we keep going up or maybe we reverse back into towards 50K. But I think I mean, certainly today's daily candle is just, this daily candle was horrendous, right? We kind of had this, excuse me, remember we had this breach, strong, you know, people like to use their little hammer emoji here. I've actually never used that hammer emoji, so I don't even know where it is. Oh, here it is. People have used this hammer emoji to say that we hammered it back down, and then yet another hammer emoji here, right? Because we broke below the this horizontal level. We had a nice green doji that prompted us to pump this way, right? Following a total breach of the lows. But then that got nastily hammered down on an outside down. So anybody that was eager to get long here, and I think it was somewhat reasonable to be eager to get long here just because we had this, what looked like kind of a final flag, breaking out, getting rejected here, and then taking a new low, grabbing some liquidity, and then sharply and aggressively moving back upwards. So this trapped a lot of bears and then ran to the highs. But then this nasty bar trapped a ton of bulls, right? All of these bulls, everybody that has bought here got trapped, and of course everybody who bought down here got trapped too. That ended up getting followed by a trap of the bears down here, and now caused a pump, 2-day pump, but that pump got rejected at the trend line, and now these guys are all trapped. So a lot of trappy going on right now. I think usually when you get a lot of bears and bulls trapped like this, there's more likely to have some sort of balance between both parties and more likely to create a trading range, right? But I think at this time, like, bulls are trapped here, bulls are clearly trapped here, bulls are clearly trapped here. Currently, it's looking like, and of course we're on this major trendline resistance, right? Sorry, it's hard to draw like this. So I think it's probably slightly more likely that bulls are trapped and need to unwind to the downside than it is that bears are trapped and need to unwind to the upside, yeah? But that being said, I think it's also quite reasonable that we could have kind of like a horizontal-ish trading range, or perhaps something like a channel. Channel seems pretty reasonable as well, right? We kind of do have 1, 2, 3 pushes to the bottom of the channel, which, if we draw it like this, it's a much tighter channel, cleaner channel. 3 pushes to the bottom of the channel, kind of took a overshoot here and then bounced back in. But I think, like, what this tells us the most is that there's a trading range here. So I think we probably do need to have some sort of resolution to this trading range, and perhaps it results in a break to the upside of the channel, but probably more likely. I think based on my just looking at this without thinking and talking through this more, I think the thing that makes the most sense is we probably take some sort of liquidity to the downside, move back up towards the high of the channel, probably don't take another high, probably get a lower high, just like we had a lower high here. I mean, this was the high, right? And then lower high here, lower high here. Probably put in yet another lower high, and then once we test this low again, it's going to start to look more like a triangle, and eventually it's going to cause us to break to the downside. At that point, maybe we finish with the channel, and then we start to break up, but, I think the fact that we are in this channel, like, and the channel is likely to last longer than we expect as well, right? So I think it's very reasonable that we could just keep channeling slowly and grind ever so slightly, grinding downward towards mid 30s. Than for us to have any sort of impulsive move in either direction, because it's very clear that like bulls and bears are both making money right now. We are kind of in a bit of a trading range here horizontally, but certainly here we're in a sloped trading range where bulls are able to make money, right? 4% here, obviously here was like 10%, 12%, right? Bears are constantly making money, right? Bears are never losing. I mean, bears are losing money, but like bears that are holding are always making money. Bulls that are holding are always losing money, but bulls are able to scalp profits, which means that bears are not in clear control of the market right now. So I do think that we're likely to keep channeling, or trading in some sort of range-bound activity for the somewhat foreseeable future, probably at least until the monthly close, and maybe things could get a little bit more impulsive coming out of the monthly close. But I mean, this was an inside bar here. This is almost an inside bar of this. It's almost an II. So this is almost an III, which means we're probably getting close to. I mean, we're not getting close to some sort of balance. We clearly have a balance within this range, right? But we're probably getting close to some sort of exhaustion. Possibly by bears, maybe like one more push down and then a bounce. And then the thing is, like, obviously that major channel we're looking to take us to, 70K is going to get broken if we take a new low. That would probably be more in line with a double bottom here and then a push up to this level, which maybe could send us to 100K, but I think I would definitely be wanting to take profits around 60K if I took a long in this region. I think the best path to 100K is to get two legs down. We have one leg down here that could be ending, and then another leg down to like 20-ish K or something like that, and then something like this that resolves to the upside. The more time we get away from here, the higher the probability of when we reach this level again that we're going to blast through the high, right? Whereas if we do kind of like this here, I think it's much more likely that too much profit is going to get taken and we reject. But of course, do you guys remember the Tesla chart? Let's see if I have that here. That way old Tesla chart. Do you remember when we first hit $900? I think they had a split at, yeah, so it was here, right? Right at the beginning of 2020, yeah. Do you see this? Because they split, so everything changed here. Yeah, we kind of had this strong rejection, really, really nasty rejection, that broke the major trend line. But then we immediately just ran it up. No, so this is very clearly different, right? Because we have had a second rejection. We've had a double top here. Yeah, I don't think this is an appropriate, what's it called? I don't think this is an appropriate chart. I guess maybe this kind of is, where we bounce here, push down lower, and then try and push and it gets rejected again. That is certainly something that we are a little bit fearful, I suppose, happening on this monthly time frame. I don't really know how to say it, but getting some sort of rejection the next time we get up to 50K. I mean, I think look how strong this rejection is. Look how strong this rejection is, telling us that we need another leg down, but then we take a new high. So this is telling us that we should probably, and then strong rejection here, we're telling us we should probably get two legs down. Like, I think that anytime we get up into 50s, big money is going to be selling. It's more likely to be selling at this time than buying. Like for example, if we just did this, I think it's pretty likely, especially if we do it on low volume, that the subsequent candle is going to be like this and just get rejected. I don't think it's as likely that we just go up. Although, I mean, this would probably be the ideal time, the optimal time for us to do that and then just go straight up in a line. I think there would have to be macroeconomic conditions that kind of make that more of a thing, which, you know, could be like this war and bird flu and all types of junk that's going on, and, you know. So, yeah, I think we're probably more likely to see rejection in our near future. I know we're talking on the monthly chart, and that's only because monthly is coming up. But yeah, I think in this near future situation, we're more likely to see continuation in this sort of region. So yeah, nothing really going on right now, to be honest. Nothing particularly tradable. Maybe like this. In the interim time frame, we kind of have like we tried to bounce here, had a nice strong bounce. We rejected below it, tried to bounce and hold it, got rejected again, but then immediately bounced back into this range. So I think it's possible that maybe we have a dump in here on low volume that gets bought back up, and then we start kind of like channeling this way, possibly into this rejection before getting an official dump and rejection, but hard to say until we see the result of this. But this is pretty ugly. This is pretty nasty candle to start the day. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I got for now. You know, keep an eye on, I think, this 1 hour chart. I think there should be a decent trade possibly coming up, kind of similar to this. This one, this was a lot easier to get though because there was a lot of buying pressure and a lot of wickage down here. We don't really have that here. This is kind of just based on these few candles, like this one being decent follow-throughs of this bounce here. So I think it makes sense that if we do I think we should probably break this low if we're going to go down. And then, you know, if we get a bounce from there, all of these bulls that will have been trapped out by the rejection below this and getting stopped out here will probably chase upward, and we can probably build some sort of channel to the upside that can get us, you know, maybe not quite back all the way up to 39K because we still have to contend with this really strong trend line, but at least the longable, at least a tradable long, you know, maybe for like $400 or $500. So yeah, that's all I got for now. Thanks.